Fine, good afternoon to you all students. Hi students, how are you? I hope you all are fine and you all are doing well. So warm greetings to you all students. Welcome to our today's online class. Okay. So till now, I have completed till chapter 9. So you have studied about, last class you have studied about chapter 9. Isn't it? So last class, so you have more question answers for chapter 9. So what homework I gave for you to study? So you have to study chapter 9 fully. Isn't it? So 1 mark question, 2 mark question, 3 mark as well as some additional question plus one detailed question. Isn't it? So have you all studied that portion? Have you all studied? Please study daily portions. Okay. Don't waste time. Okay. So today onwards we are going to study about a new chapter. Chapter 10. Flow of control. Okay. So what's the title of our chapter? Flow of control. Okay. So in this chapter we are going to study about the flow of control. That means, so in a program, so the control will flow from where to where. Okay. So program is a collection of statements or instructions, isn't it? So program will contain lot of statements, nearly 10 to 11 lines or 12 to 13 lines, etc. So what do you mean by statements? The codes or lines. Okay. Some program will contain 5 lines. Some program 20, 25, 30. Likewise, lot of lines, a lot of statements will be there in each and every program. Isn't it? So, in that program, while you are executing, so the control needs to flow from where to where. Okay. So, from which line to which line the program needs to execute. So, that needs to decide based on some conditions. Okay. So, that only we are going to study detailed about in this chapter. Okay. So the program will contain lot of statements. Statement means nothing but lines. For example, hash include iostream using namespace std then into main of. Likewise, each and every line we are calling as a statements. Okay. So this while you are executing, so each lines or each statements need to execute, isn't it? For example, last chapter you have studied some example programs, isn't it? So some programs will contain nearly 10 lines. So while you are executing the program, so the program needs to execute from starting header file to the till the last line, isn't it? So the execution of statement from the beginning to the end, that's a normal thing, isn't it? So in a program contain lot of lines. So while you are executing the program needs to execute from beginning line, that is starting line, from the next line, based on sequentially. What do you mean by sequentially? That is order. First line will execute first, then second line, then third line, then fourth line, till it will execute last line. Okay. First line, second line, third line, fourth line. That order it will execute. That process we are calling as which one? Sequentially. Okay. So normally the program will execute each line. So each line will execute one by one or in order. That one we are calling as one sequence. Okay. In some programs, so we need to restrict some lines or some blocks. So some lines no need to execute each line. Understood? In some programs, so already we have studied some program, most of the programs each line will execute line by line or order by order. First line, second line, third line, likewise. Okay. In some situations, some program, some lines need to be executed first. Some set of lines need not to be executed. So we need to restrict the access or restrict the execution of lines. Okay. So based on this, so for that we are giving some conditions. Okay. So which block of code needs to be executed, or which lines or which part of the program needs to be executed first. Okay. We are going to restrict some restrictions. We are giving some restrictions. This lines need to execute first, or this lines need not to be executed. Okay. So in some situations we are giving some restrictions. Okay. So in that, if you are giving some restriction, sometime the program needs to run. While the program is running, the flow of control needs to jump from one part of the code to some another part of the code. For example, take some program will contain nearly 30 lines. Okay, nearly 30 lines. So, first 10 lines need to execute first. Okay, first 10 lines need to execute first. Then, after execution of first 10 line, then the 20th line needs to execute. In between 10 to 20th line, no need to execute. After 10th line, the 20th line need to execute. Okay. Such a time, we are giving some conditions. Okay. So, this kind of jump, that is the program flow of control jump from one part of the code to, that is near from first 10 line of the code to next 10 line. So, that we are calling as an what? Control flow. Okay. Which part of the code needs to execute first, then which part of the code need to execute second. So this we are calling as an what? Control flow. Understood what do you mean by control flow? Normally the program will contain lot of statements. So each and every statements need to execute based on some order or sequential line by line. First line needs to execute first, second line needs to, then third line till the end line. Okay. In some situations we need to restrict the executions of this sequential order. For that, we are giving some conditions. So, based on the conditions, the program needs to execute. That is, first part of the program needs to execute. Then, the third part of the program. Based on the condition, so the flow of control jump from one part of the code to the next part of the code. Okay. So, this entire process we are calling as an which one? Control flow. Understood what I mean by control flow? Very, very important question. Okay. So, next one is statements. What do you mean by statements? Okay. So, statements are, what's the other name of statements? Instructions. Okay. So, you have studied lot of programs. Okay. A program is a set of statements or collection of statements. We can say the program is a set of statements or collection of statements or some collection of instructions. So, all this collection of statements, instructions, altogether, these statements are need to perform some task. Okay. For example, last chapter we have studied on program to calculate the area of a circle or curved surface area of a circle. Okay. So, what's the task of the program? Curved surface area of a circle means what's the task of the program? So, you are going to calculate the curved surface area of a circle. That's the task. So, for the task, you are writing nearly 8 to 10 lines you are writing. Isn't it? So, a program is a set of or 8 to 10 lines of programs to perform a specific task. What task? You are going to calculate curved surface area. Understood what I mean by statements? So, a computer program is a collection of statements to do some specific task. Okay. So, here each line we are calling as a statement. First line is a header file. That's one statement. Then second line using namespace std. That's the second statement. Then into main of third line. That is another one statement. Okay. So, each and every statement has some actions. So, each and every statements will do some specific action. For example, header file is there. So, what's the use of header file? Header file will contain all input and output operations. Then using namespace std. So, all the identifiers will be come under there. Then main of function. The main part of the program needs to write inside main of. Likewise, each and every statements or each and every line will have some specific action. Okay. So, this actions in the sense, so program will contain variable declarations, expressions, assignment operations, decision making, looping, etc. Okay. So, what do you mean by variable declarations? Already you have studied int A, int B, float A. So, this line we are calling as a variable declarations. Then expression. A square plus B square equal X square plus Y square equal to 0. Like that's one expression. Evaluations. For example, curved area of a circle. Pi r square. That's the evaluation. Assignment operations. What do you mean by A equal to 5? That is assignment. So, decision making and looping till now you didn't study. So, later chapters you are going to study that topic also. So, this altogether we can say this and all. So, declarations is a one action. Expression we can say separate action. Evaluation we can say separate action. So altogether we can say this is a collection of some actions. Understood what do you mean with statements? A computer program will have collection of statements or instructions to perform some task. Okay. So each and every statements will have some actions. Okay. So the action includes what are the actions? Variable declarations, assignment operations, decision making, etc. Understood? So totally there are two kinds of statements are there. Very, very important 2 mark question. So define statement and explain the types of statements. Okay. So generally how many types of statements are there? 2 kinds of statements are there in C++. Okay. So what are the 2 types of statement means? Null statement and compound statement. Okay. So how many types of statements are there in C++ totally? 2. What are they? Null statement and compound statement. Okay. So first one is null statement. Very, very important question. Okay. Null statement and compound statement. Very, very important 3 mark question. Okay. So what's the other name of null statement means? Empty statement. Okay. What's the other name of null statement? Empty statement. Okay. So this statement will contain only a semicolon. Understood? So null statement is a statement which contains only a semicolon at the last. So what's the syntax for this null statement means? See, this is a syntax. Only semicolon is there. Okay. So these null statements are commonly used as placeholders. Very, very important. 1 mark question. Please underline it. Okay. So null statements are commonly used as dash. Placeholders in iteration statement. Okay. So these null statements are commonly used as which one? Placeholders. Okay. So in iteration statements or compound statements. Okay. For example, in a program, so listen, after the header file hash include iostream, first line, second line. So what you will write? Using namespace std, 1 semicolon. Isn't it? So that kind of statements we can call as a null statement. Understood? So what do you mean by null statement? Statement will contain only a semicolon. Nothing will be there. So this is syntax. So it is null statements are commonly used as which one? Placeholders in iteration statements or compound statement. Understood? Okay. So listen, next one is the compound statement. So what's the other name of null statement? Empty statement. Okay. So what's the other name of compound statement? Block statement. This and all very, very important question. Okay. So what do you mean by compound statement means? A particular group of statement will be enclosed within this closed braces. Within this braces, that is, just a set of statements need to enclosed within open brace and closed brace. Understood what I mean by block statements? A set of statements need to enclosed within braces, that is between open brace and closed brace. That one we are calling as which statement? Compound statement or block statement. Okay. So the statements present inside this open brace and closed brace are called as a block. Understood? Some statements needs to present inside open brace and closed brace. We are calling as a compound statement. Okay. So the statement present inside this open brace and closed brace we are calling as an what? Block. Understood? So this is the general format of compound statement. Okay. What's the general format? So listen carefully. So the compound statements always needs to present inside this braces, that is between open brace and closed brace. Understood? See first statement 1 semicolon, then statement 2 semicolon, statement 3 semicolon. But null statement not like that. Statement need not to be present inside open brace and closed brace. But compound statement always needs to present inside open brace and closed brace. So inside these braces will contain lot of statements. Okay. So each statements are ends with semicolon. Understood? So how many statements? Any number of statements you can define inside this open brace and closed brace. But the program will treat this for example 10 statements are there inside this open brace and closed brace. So the program will consider this 10 statements as a single block or single unit. Understood? So any number of statements you can define inside open brace and closed brace, but the program will consider the end statement as a one block. Understood? That block can appear anywhere in the program, even in 4th to 5th line or in 10 to 20 lines. Okay, anywhere the program can display these blocks in the program. Understood? See the example. One example they have given. Int x comma y inside the open brace and close brace. See, inside the braces they have given. Okay, int x comma y. Two variables they are declaring. What are the variables? X and y. Next, two values. So one value they have given, x equal to 10. Then y equal to x plus 10. So these three lines we are calling as statements or quotes, block of quotes. These three lines are enclosed within open brace and close brace. Understood? The null statement and compound statement, very important question. Null statement means statements only ends with semicolon. So it need not to be enclosed within open brace or close brace. So this null statement is used as a placeholders in iteration statement. Okay. But compound or block statement means a particular group of statements need to enclosed within braces, that is between open brace and close brace. Okay. Between pair of braces, the particular set of statements need to enclosed. Okay. So this group of statements we are calling as the statements enclosed inside the open brace and closed brace are called as a block. Okay. So this is the general syntax. Inside the open brace and closed brace you need to give statements. Each statements need to enclosed within semicolon. Okay. So how many, any number of statements you can give inside these braces, but the program will consider each statement as a one block. Understood? Okay. So next one is control statements. Okay. So already you studied flow of control. Normally a water will flow. Water from, if you are going to see a waterfalls means the water will flow from always high level to the low level. Isn't it? That is flow of control. Likewise, so this control statements, normally the program execution is from top to bottom. That is first line to the last line. But in some conditions, some situations, we are altering the flow of control or flow of lines. Some situations, we are changing or altering the execution of lines. Okay. Sometimes the program need to execute line by line. That is order by order. First line, second line, third line. That is sequentially. Sometimes the program needs to execute sequentially. Sometimes selectively. Selectively means particular selected number of lines need to execute. Sometimes iteratively. Iteratively means some set of lines need to execute again and again. Understood? Sometimes the program needs to execute the order by order. First line, second line. That is sequentially. Sometimes the selective number of lines need to execute. Only the selective number of lines need to execute. Sometimes some set of lines need to execute again and again. That is iteratively. Okay. So this kind of statements need to support sequentially or selectively or iteratively. Okay. So if the statements are executed sequentially, that is order by order. Okay. So if the statements are executed order by order, that is first line, second line, third line. Likewise, order by order means we can say that is a sequential flow. What do you mean by important question? Define sequential flow. What do you mean by sequential flow? If the statements are executed sequentially, that is order by order. Okay, one by one, that is first line, second line, third line. Okay, so if the statements are executed sequentially, we can say that flow is called which flow? Sequential flow. Okay, in sometimes the program need to alter the flow of control. Likewise, iteration, or sometimes the control needs to jump from one part of the program to next part of the program. This is called what? Control flow. Understood what do you mean by control flow? Control flow means in some situations the flow of control need to, that is the program flow needs to execute, that is first some part of the line need to execute first time, then it will jump from first code to the next part. So that we are calling as an control flow. Understood? Okay. So next we are going to study about each statement in one by one in detail. Okay. First one is sequence statement. So what do you mean by sequence statement? Already have studied. Set of statements need to execute one after another. That is first line, then next second line, then third line, fourth line. if you are giving some program, that program will contain nearly 10 line means, so first line it will execute first, then second line, then third line, till the fourth line, 10th line. Okay, so the flow of control always from top to bottom. Understood what I mean by sequence statement? Sequence statements are statements always executed from one after another. That is first line, then second line till last line. Okay, that is from top to bottom. Okay, so here these statements do not alter the flow of execution. That means, so the flow of execution will not change. That is, the order remains the same. First line, then second line, then third line, then fourth line. So here in sequential statement, it won't, first line will execute first, then fifth line won't execute the second. So it won't alter the sequence of execution. Okay, so this kind of statements are called as which one? Sequential flow statements. Understood? And also each statements are ends with which one? Semicolon. That is very, very important. Understood? Each statements are ends with what? Semicolon. Understood? What do you mean by sequence statement? Sequence statements are the statements that are executed one after the another. That means term from top level to the bottom level. That means first line to the last line. So these statements do not change the flow of control. That means do not alter the flow of execution. Always the order remains the same. So this kind of statements we are calling as an which statement? Sequence statement. Understood? And also, so each statements are ends with semicolon. Understood? Okay. So listen. So here see, this is the diagram for sequence statement. Totally here how many statements are there? 3 statements they are given. Statement 1, then statement 2, statement 3. So here this is one program or one block. So listen, see the arrow mark. First which statement will execute? First statement, statement 1. Then which statement will execute? Statement 2, second one. The third statement. Understood? What do you mean by sequence statement? Okay. This and all very, very important questions. Okay. All the topics are very, very important here in this chapter. Okay. So next one is selection statement. Okay. Name itself having selection. So selective number of lines need to execute. Understand? Okay. So selection statement means that so some set of statement needs to execute based on the condition. Okay. So you are giving some condition. So based on the condition, so some set of statements need to execute. Understood what I mean by selection statements? So you are giving some conditions in the program. So based on the condition, so some set of programs need to execute. So that we are calling as an which one? Selection statements. Okay. So what are the conditions you are giving means 2 types of conditions you are giving. True or false. Understood? So if first the program will check the condition. So if the condition is true means the particular true, inside the true block you are giving some set of statements. Okay. So the true block will execute. If the condition is true means which block will execute? True block will execute. Understood? If the condition is false. Understood? If the condition is false means which block will execute? False block will execute. Understood? If the condition is true means which block will execute? True block will execute. If the condition is false means which block will execute? False block will execute. Okay. So this selection statement we can call, this statement is other is called decision statement or selection statement. Understood? So what's the other name of selection statement? Decision statement or selection statement. Why we are calling as decision statement means based on the condition it will decide. It will make a decision. So which statement needs to execute? Whether true statement needs to execute or false statement needs to execute. So we are calling this as an which statement? Decision statement or selection statement. Understood what I mean by selection statement? Selection statement means so particular number of statements need to execute based on the condition. So there are, you are giving totally, you are giving 2 types of conditions. What are they? True or false. So first it will check the condition. So whether the condition is true means particular true statements need to execute. So if the condition is false means the false statement needs to execute. So we are calling this selection statement. Other name of selection statement is decision statement. Why we are calling means based on the decision it will execute particular number of lines. So we are calling the decision statement as a selection statement. Understood? Okay. So this is the diagram. So if they ask for the 2 more question means only you define what do you mean by selection, what do you mean by sequence statement. So if they ask for 3 more question means you should define, write the definition as well as diagram you should draw. 3 more questions, diagram also you should draw. Understood? Okay. Listen. So in a program you are giving some conditions. Okay. So inside a program you are giving some conditions. Okay. So how many types of conditions I said? The condition will check 2 types. What are they? True or false. Will you see this one? Is it visible for you? So see this arrow mark represents true. This arrow mark represents false. Understood? So if first in the program you hear the program is entry or the program is enter here. So it will check the condition. So if the based on the condition it will check if the condition is true. Okay, if the condition is true means so inside the true you are giving 2 statements. Okay, inside this condition you are giving some statements, this block. So if the condition is true means only this statement alone execute. So this statement won't get executed. At a time 2 statements won't get, that is true condition. Based on the conditions either true block will execute or false block. At the same time both true and false block won't get executed. Understood? So it will check the condition. So if the condition is true means this true block will execute. If the condition is false, false means this false block will execute, this true block will not execute. Understand? So if the condition is true means this block will execute and it will come outside of the program, that is exit. At that time this block won't get execute. Sometimes if the condition is false, so this false block will execute, this true block won't get execute, automatically come outside of the program or exit. Understood? Understood the diagram for selection statement? Okay. So next one is iteration statement. Okay, what's the third statement? Iteration. Okay. So iteration statement means it is a set of statements. So some set of in a program, some set of statements need to executed again and again or repeated. Okay, some set of statements need to execute again and again or repetition. Some set of statements need to executed repeatedly. So based on the condition, some set of statements need to execute again and again. So that kind of statements we are calling as in which one? Iteration statement. Understood what do you mean by iteration statement? So iteration statement is a set of statements. So based on the condition, some set of statements need to execute again and again. So that type of statements we are calling as in which one? Iteration statement. Okay. So here also 2 types of conditions. What are they? Already you have studied 2 types of conditions. What are they? True and false. So if the condition is true means true block will executed again and again. So but selection statement not like that. If the condition is true means only one time only that block will execute. But iteration statement is not like that. So if the condition is true means that true block will execute again and again. Okay. So when this execution stop means when the condition is remaining false till that the particular loop will execute. Understood? So till how much the loop will execute? Till the condition is false. Till that time the particular set of statements name will executed again and again. Okay. So once the condition reaches false. Okay, once the condition reaches false, the repetition stops. Okay, once the condition false, the repetition stops. The statements need not to be executed again and again. Okay, so this kind of statements we are calling as an looping statement or iteration statement. What's the other name of iteration statement? Looping statement. These are 2 names they have given, no? Selection or decision making. So this names and all very important. 2 more questions. Sometimes they will ask define looping statement. Sometimes they will ask iteration statement. At that time you should know what's the name of this statement. Understood? So what do you mean by looping statement or iteration statement? Some set of statements need to executed again and again or repeatedly. So based on the conditions, the statements need to executed again and again. Okay. So if the condition is true, means the true block will execute again and again till the condition reaches false. So once the condition reaches false, the repetition will stop. That kind of statements we are calling as which one? Looping statement or iteration statement. Understood? Okay. So some set of, I said no, some set of statements will execute again and again. So that set of statements we are calling as a body of the loop. So what do you mean by body of the loop? Some set of statements will execute repeatedly or again and again. That statements we are calling as in which one? Body of the loop. Okay. So we are giving some conditions, isn't it? So based on the condition only, the particular loop will execute. So the condition we are calling as an exit condition or test condition. Okay. So based on the condition only, it will check. So true means the condition executed. Once the condition reaches false, the loop will terminate. So that condition is called as test condition or exit condition. So what's the name of the condition? Exit condition or test condition. Okay. So normally all kind of programming languages, if you see any programming languages, all kind of programming languages will support this kind of conditions. Now we are studying about which programming language? C++. So C++ also this kind of conditions or this kind of statements will execute. Okay. So selection statements as well as iteration statements are both statements are executed based on the condition, that is condition is true or false. Isn't it? See this diagram. So please differentiate and study the diagrams. Then only you will get understand. Okay. First understood the diagram, then study the answer. Then easily you will get understand. Okay. So here see the condition. So in the program one condition they are giving. See the arrow mark. So if the condition is true, see not that arrow. If the condition is true means, see the arrow mark. That is here. If the condition is true means this is called loop body. That means the particular statements given inside the true condition. So that is called loop body. If the condition is true means this block, that means these two statements will execute again and again. Till how much it will execute? Till the condition is false. Once this condition is false, see the arrow mark, automatically the control flow to the false condition, that is exit conditions. Next it won't check any false condition, but selection statement is not like that, isn't it? So once the condition is true means true block will execute. Otherwise false block will execute. But here iteration statement is not like that. If the condition is true means the statements given inside the true block will execute. So it will repeat it again and again till the condition is false. So once the condition is false, automatically see the arrow mark, automatically the control come outside of the block. This is called what? Iteration. Understood? Okay. So next we are going to study detailed about selection statement. Okay. So till now we have studied about definitions of what do you mean by selection statement, what do you mean by branching statement, looping, etc. I said now we are going to study detailed about selection statement. Okay. So already we have studied in a program. So decision or execution, the other flow of control jumps from one part of the program to another part of the program. Okay. So mostly this kind of things are done by using which statement means if else statement. Okay. So decisions are made based on which statement. So now we are going to study lot of statements. Listen carefully. First we are going to study about which statement? If else statement. So here two alternatives are there. So what are the alternatives? If and else. How many alternatives are there? Two. What are they? If and else. Okay. So depending on the condition, it will check if or else. Okay. So two branches. What are they? If branch as well as else branch. Okay. Depending on the condition, which block will execute. Listen carefully. First we are going to study about if statement. Okay. If statement evaluates a condition based on the condition is true. Okay. So it will, this statement will check the or run the code only if the condition is true. Okay, otherwise that particular block is skipped. Understood? When the if statement will, listen carefully, very very important. So if statement will execute only when the condition is true. Otherwise the block is skipped. Okay, see this syntax. This is if expression. So inside the if you are giving some expression. So if the expression, that is if the condition is true, the statements given inside this true block will execute. Otherwise the block will come outside, that the control will come outside the statement X. So here also the syntax, each and every syntax are very 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 important. Understood? So if statement always starts with the keyword if. Okay, if statements always starts with the keyword if, then the expression needs to given inside parenthesis. That is important. So if statements always starts with the keyword if and the condition is given inside parenthesis. Based on the condition, the particular true block will execute. Otherwise the control flow outside of the program. Okay, so this true block will contain say a single line of statement or multiple line of statements or empty statement. That's no problem. Okay, see this is the flow chart. Listen carefully. If expression. So in this if statement you are giving some expression. So if the condition is true means this block will execute. See the arrow mark. If the condition is true means this block will execute. Otherwise the control come outside of this true block and execute the remaining statements. That is this line. If the control is false means automatically come outside of the loop and this statement will execute. Okay, one example program they are giving. You see this example program, then you will get understand. Okay, so what's the program means? Program to check whether a person is eligible to vote if the statement. So what's the voting age? If age is 18 and above 18 means you can able to vote, isn't it? So for that you are going to write a program using if statement. Understood? Listen. What's the first line? Hash include IOStream header file. Then identifier using namespace std. Then main of function. Inside main of function you are declaring a variable called age because you are going to check the age, isn't it? So int age. Next in the output screen you are giving cout enter the age. So you are asking the user to enter the age. So for that you are giving input in age. Input which one you need to give? Age. So here you need to check particular person is eligible to vote. So what's the age? If the person has the age 18 or above 18 only, the person can eligible to vote, isn't it? So you are going to check. For that you are using which loop? If loop. Okay. See what's the syntax? If, then expression is enclosed within parenthesis. What's the thing you are giving? What's the variable you are declared? Age greater than or equal to 18. Understood? Age greater than or equal to 18. This is the condition. So inside that you are giving, inside this loop you are giving cout eligible for voting. Next giving, so cout, this statement is always executed. Next return 0, that is come outside of the loop. Listen carefully. Now you are running the program. What line will execute first? In the output enter your age. So your age is 23. So it will check the condition. So here age is 23. So here it will check. So age 23 is greater than or 18. Understood? So your age is entering the age is 23. So it will check the condition. Okay, the age is 23. That this age is greater than 18. So what output you will get? You are eligible for voting. Okay, so this statement is always executed. Understood? Suppose you are entering the age 15. Whether the statement will execute? No. Why? The condition is false. Understood? Okay, so what are the things you have studied? Selection statement, looping statement, iteration statement, if statement. All the things are very, very, very important. This chapter is very, very important. So after completion of this session, please make the heading. What do you mean by selection statement? What do you mean by sequence statement? What do you mean by iteration statement? Please make a heading and write as a definition and the flow chart and this program if statement. So everything study and write in your computer notebook. Okay. So remaining things we can continue in the next class. Thank you students. Thank you.